What is it like being a Jamaican living in Angola? Hi, I'm Xavier Murphy, founder of Jamaicans.com. And today in Jamaicans to the World, I talk to Desiree Brown, a Jamaican living in Angola. Hi, Desiree, how are you?
Hi, Xavier. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am
I hope I
doing
got the
I am doing
pronunciation
great.
right. Same. I hope I got the pronunciation. I hope I got the pronunciation right.
Well, I'm fine with Xavier, like you said, and Xavier,
Yes,
because I know that's a French. Is it French?
exactly. That's really what it
Yes,
is. Exactly. That's
yes.
exactly what it is.
and and,
Yes, yes,
and it
yes, yes.
sounds good. I like it. I don't mind it. So if I'm comfortable with the Xavier,
Okay.
but
Okay.
most people call me Xavier.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So, which part of Jamaica are you from?
I was born in Kingston many, many years ago. Yeah,
Okay,
Kingston. I want to say St. Andrew, but yeah, Kingston is fine.
all right,
Yeah.
Kingstonian. So,
Yes.
what school in Kingston? High school. We're precious about our high schools.
No, and
Um,
I, yeah, I know.
and it could be you could back up if you choose to, if you want to go back to primary or prep or whatever, but which one of the schools are you representing, are you is near and dear to you?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. So high school, I was really lucky. I was absolutely lucky to have gone to the best high schools in Kingston, like two of the best. So I started off first form at Immaculate. So I did Immaculate up to fifth form. And then
Okay.
after that, sixth form, I went to Andrews. So I've had the best of both worlds, right?
Okay, all right. My you're my sister, because I went to JC and Andrews are brother and sisters.
Yes, in sixth form, yeah, we did a lot of things with the sixth form association. I remember that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So is there a teacher that you remember from either Immaculate or St. Andrew that
Hmm.
impacted your life, that you want
Yeah,
to kind of give a shout out to?
yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about that, and I came up with one teacher from each of the schools, and coincidentally, they actually taught the same subject. I remember Miss Robotham from Immaculate and Miss Rita from Andrews. Yeah, and they
Nice.
were both math teachers. Yeah.
So what is there anything you remember about each of them that, today you said, man, that was, that changed my thinking or changed my trajectory, or, maybe it's just the way they taught math. Maybe they taught math in a way that was very relatable.
Mm. I remember once Miss Rita, this is in sixth form, Miss Rita she had to go away for a little bit. And she chose a few of the girls to teach, one aspect or one concept from the curriculum. And I was one of the girls that she chose. To this day, I remember what it is that I taught. And yeah, and I really enjoyed that. And I think she opened my eyes to the possibility of the fact that I could teach, and I enjoyed it, actually sharing my knowledge with other people. And I think that's something that's I've held on to all these years, knowing that I'm able to share knowledge with people. Yeah.
Okay, awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us about your journey to Angola, and
Mhm.
this journey might have a few stops, and I'm
Yeah.
fine with a few stops, because we're gonna
Yeah.
get into, in a little later, we're gonna get into you traveling to, I don't know, over, was it 50? Was it 70?
Pretty much.
Huh?
About that. Yeah,
Or is it
pretty much.
more? We're gonna
Yeah,
get
it's about 70. Yeah, it's about 70. I just sat down to count the other day. Yeah, it's yeah.
so we're gonna talk about that a little later, but I want to
Okay.
talk specifically to your journey to Angola.
Right. So I left Jamaica in 1988. I'll never forget, that was year of Hurricane Gilbert. And, I left to study in Belgium. And yeah, however many years later, I'm in Angola. No, actually, let me just fill in the gaps. So I studied in Belgium.
You compressed, you compressed all those
Right?
years in just like boom. It's like a time, like you stepped into
Time warp,
a time
right?
warp or a time travel machine.
Yes.
And it's just like
Yes.
bam.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Well, it's so funny because yeah, so I left in Jamaica in 88, and I wanted to at that time my goal was to solve the water problems in the world, right? I wanted to work in hydrology because I went to university, I went to UE, and I studied geology and math. And my aim was, I have to do something a bit more
Mm.
specialized. So I chose hydrology. So I left Jamaica to do a master's in hydrology at a university in Brussels. And they focused on students coming from developing countries because the whole idea was to go back and sort out the problems and that kind of thing. And life's got some twists and turns and that kind of thing. And what happened was I met a man, I met a guy. I met a guy,
That's
and
always the
I
twist and the
know,
turn,
right?
you know.
And things, and then things took a different turn, and then we ended up doing a bit of traveling together. So we lived, we moved to Belgium, sorry, moved to Germany, to Russia, um, Germany, Russia, to Ireland. We just moved around quite a bit. So that's how I ended up traveling, starting to travel quite a bit. But before that, though, even before I left to go to Belgium, I always wanted to travel. I remember going to Martinique and Haiti and Cuba, everything. I really loved traveling. Anyway, so it's great that I had a partner who also enjoyed traveling. So we traveled around together, and yeah. And then after a while, I started traveling around on my own, and I started. This is where Miss Rita and Mr. Botham come in, right? Then I started teaching. And I started teaching math, right?
Oh
And then I
wow.
started teaching in international schools, and that's how I ended up in Angola because I'm at an
Okay.
international school in Angola. See, full circle. Yeah, perfect. I fill in the gaps, right?
You tied it up in a nice little knot.
Exactly.
so
Right. Yeah.
so tell us about the people in
Mhm.
Angola. What, again, I don't want to generalize on anyone, but the people
Yeah.
you encounter, what are the people like?
Yeah. I remember when I got to Angola, this is my second year in Angola. And when I got here, it was about maybe it was last 2 years ago in August. And I got to the airport. And I got out of the airport and I was like, oh my gosh, where is everybody? It was so quiet. Because normally in a lot of African countries or developing countries, let's say, when you get to the airport, there's always a hustle and bustle outside the airport. People asking to change money. Do you want to ride? Taxi and that sort of thing. In Luanda, there was nothing. It was so calm. So it's like,
Mhm.
wow, it's a public holiday. What's happening? So one of the things that I really enjoy about Angola is that the people are very chilled, very relaxed. They are not aggressive at all. And you think, because the Civil War ended, I believe it was 2002, early 2000s. You'd never, if you didn't know that, you'd never know that most of the people that you encounter today, anybody who say, over 25, 28, would have had some experience with the Civil War. You would not, there's no vibe. You would not get that vibe at all. They're just chilled,
Mm.
relaxed, very welcoming, very kind. I remember once I was in the supermarket. In some supermarkets, you kind of have to weigh the vegetables and get it priced before you go to the checkout. This time I
Right.
actually forgot. So I'm at the checkout. I'm like, oh my God, my bananas. I forgot to get the price, the price for my bananas. And this lady, I've never seen her before, stopped. She said, don't worry, because I didn't want to have to run back. I was waiting for one of the workers in the supermarket to go and get it for me. And there was nobody around. So the lady behind me actually offered to go back to the fresh produce, weigh
Wow.
the thing, put the price on a big. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm not sure I would have done that for anybody, but yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wow.
They're just very kind, helpful people. And
Wow.
and a lot of the times, the official language of the country is Portuguese.
Okay.
And sometimes, you're having you ask a question. My Portuguese is not great. I'm not proud of that, but still, it's just one of those things. And you're struggling with something, and somebody who's behind you again, will come to your assistance and help you out. People are just
Nice.
very kind and helpful. I really love that about them. Mm.
Nice. Nice. So when people discover that
Mhm.
you're Jamaican, what is the typical response?
You're definitely going to a conversation about Bob Marley, marijuana, or Usain Bolt. Those are the three conversations. The three conversation starters. But I have to say, more often than not, it's Bob. It's Bob. Bob
Wow.
has the greatest ambassador for Jamaica. I'm telling you, opened so many doors. Really, I just have to say, Bob. And yeah, people just start talking, right?
So, are they, you know, and I know they know about Usain Bolt, Bob,
Mhm.
and the music probably
Yeah.
and so
Mhm.
forth. Let's
Mhm.
talk food. Are they aware of Jamaican food, and where do you get your Jamaican food fix?
Right. They might be, I think the most people might be aware of is jerk chicken or jerk anything. Actually, jerk chicken. I don't think they've gone to fish yet, but
Right.
definitely jerk chicken. As for me, where do I get mine? I have a neighbor who's Jamaican and she does a jerk for me when we need, and we kind of share it. Or I do it sometimes. There is nowhere that I can go and get it. We have to do it ourselves. And
Wow.
when you go to Jamaica, you just bring your little bottle back. Then when you need it fixed,
I was
you
about
just
to
do
ask, we're getting the Scotch bonnet pepper to make that from scratch. That
it.
that is exactly what I was about to ask. And you answer
No.
the question, you
You
know.
stock up on that. You do, you do, you do. Yeah.
No Amazon shipping the seasoning there, right?
No, I mean I could, but boy, I don't know how much that would cost, really.
All right. Let me touch on the Angolan food.
Hmm.
What's again, I know you probably haven't tasted all the dishes, but if there are dishes that you have tasted, is there one that you like and you would
Yep.
say, as a Jamaican, maybe you
Hmm.
want to try this particular
Yep.
dish? I know
Yep.
I limited it to one. If you want to go to
Hmm.
two or three, it's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. But
Yeah.
I start out at one.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about Angola, it's got a very rich because it was colonized by the Portuguese, right? Portuguese cuisine is still a great part of Angolan cuisine. So, what I like, and there's a lot of fish because it's got a very long coastline. So, my favorite dish is what I'd call fried cuttlefish. It's kind of like squid. But yeah, fried cuttlefish is my favorite. Every single restaurant, every single time I go, it's kind of like a starter. Every restaurant, even if it's not on the official menu, they're going to have it. So
Okay.
that's my favorite thing. I could live on that. Everything else is just irrelevant. It's
So let
just
me make sure I have it
yeah,
right. Cuttle, it's
cuttlefish.
so when you go in, you ask for cuttlefish, or you'll see it on the menu.
Right, exactly. If you don't see it on the menu, you still ask, they'll have it. Yes,
Okay.
fried. Yeah, yeah.
Any other favorites, or that you're good with the one?
I'm good with one. I'm gonna tell you, I'm good with
All right.
one.
All right.
I'm good with one. The food here is generally good, though. Honestly, it really is, and fish is fabulous. A lot of well, if you take out the Portuguese part of it, a lot of the dishes have come with sauces. So people eat, the chicken would be kind of a stew, the beef would kind of a stew, and you'd have that with rice, or you'd have that with funge. Now, funge is that very typical African. I want to say it's very similar. Lots of African countries have a variation of funge. Funge is like fufu in Ghana.
I was
In
about to think it was
exactly same but different kind of thing. I
okay.
know it's probably blasphemy saying same, but in my eyes, it's very similar, right?
And I know I have, my friends from the continent, everybody competes, our fufu tastes better
Exactly.
than your fufu, and
There you
and,
go.
and all of that. So
Yes,
it's not the same. Don't make it the same.
exactly. Yes, yes. Yes.
So in terms of you're talking about the coastline and
Hmm.
the sea and whatever the case is.
Hmm.
You're It sounds like you're close enough wherever you're located. You're close enough to the sea.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And is the beaches, how are the beaches? How, is that, are you, holiday comes up, and is it the tradition everybody's headed out
Mhm.
to the beach, or is there somewhere else everybody kind of hangs out on a holiday?
Yeah, yeah. So it's a good question because I'm in Luanda, the capital. It's on the coast. So I can drive maybe 5 minutes and I'm at the beach or at the coastline kind of thing. And at the weekends, people go down to the coastline. There are to the beach, there are lots of options. Whether you're poor, you're rich, or in between, there's always a beach option for you. Um, because we're on the Atlantic, right? The beach, it's not white sand. The sand is it's a little brown, beige brown, but it's fine, And there's a very strong undercurrents. It's not like Chile in the Caribbean, in Otrias, Montego Bay, where you can go in and just
Right,
float. If you
right.
do that here, you will float away. You will float all the way. You will float away. Yes.
No,
Yeah.
Um, in terms of places that you'd say, Xavier, if you were
Mhm,
to visit Angola,
mhm.
and I know you haven't been everywhere, but you may have
Right.
come to a place where you said, come at this time of the year because you got to see this festival or this thing or
Mhm,
this sunset at this time of the year. Or it could be here's an event. If you're
mhm.
coming, try and line yourself up here. Or it may be a place where you say,
Yeah,
I visited this place and it's really interesting. What would that
yeah.
one thing be? Say, Xavier, if you're coming, you got to do this.
I would say if you're coming, definitely come before. Well, because the where it's Angola's in the southern hemisphere, so the winter months are, I would say, what are we now? We're May, July, August, September. So don't come July, August, or September because it's kind of winter here is a bit overcast and it's gray. It's not really cold, but it's just not bright blue skies. So anytime, October to May would be good. And if you come during that time, there's a part of Angola called Namib, which is it's on the border with Namibia, the country, and it's beautiful. It's like a desert. It's desert sounds not doesn't sound beautiful, but it really is. It's a very special kind of a place. If you want a complete detox to get away from everything and anybody, it's the place to go to relax. But even, I mean, that's a flight from, you can drive. That's a flight from Luanda. I would definitely say that's a good place to go. And even if you want, at the weekend, we've got Cabaledo, which is about an hour and a half. It's a beach where it's also, I want to say, not a lot of people. It's very relaxed. I mean, you could go for a day, you could go for a weekend, however you want. The thing about Angola, which I found really surprising, is that it's a beautiful country. People do not associate Angola with beauty. They think immediately, civil war, communism, and all that. But it's a beautiful country. It's like, a diamond in the rough. It's just waiting to be discovered.
Wow.
And the government recently had, they eased up on their visa policy because before you had to get a visa to come and everything. But now you just need, I think it's about 100 and something countries. And I'm
Right.
pretty sure Jamaica is among them where you can just jump on the plane and come. There's no visa required. So I think they're, beginning to open up a bit. I mean, I could show you some beautiful pictures and you think, oh my God, am I on the moon? Because it's so picturesque, beautiful. I'm telling you,
Well,
really. So
hopefully we can include some of these for folks to see.
definitely will, for
But
sure, for
but
sure.
your face lit up when you talked about how it's undiscovered and so forth.
Yeah.
And you have been to 70 countries. Not only have you been to 70 countries, you
Yeah.
have written a book about
Right.
traveling. And so hopefully you have the book handy. Tell us about
I
your book
do.
and
I
tell us.
do.
All right. So first, tell us
Here
about
it
the
is.
book. Okay. Wait.
Um,
Put it up. I need to see that again. Okay. Hold on. Let's make sure we got you. Unleashed: A Solo Female Traveler's Journey of Discovery. All right. So
see.
give us. Don't give it too much. We're not
No, no,
giving
no,
it
you
too
won't.
much. Tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
the book, and then also where we could get the book. If it's just Amazon, just say go to
Yeah.
Amazon.
Right. Yes, yes. It is on Amazon, by the way. And it's also, print, hard copy, and Audible, and an audiobook on Audible. So the way this came about, it's really funny because in the I want to say maybe 2000s, when I started traveling on my own, before the days of social media, we only used to have emails. So I used to, whatever I experienced on my travels, I would send an email to a group of friends. And then eventually, after many years, somebody said, Desiree, why don't you just put all these together in a book? And of course, I was like, yeah, whatever. So anyway, during the pandemic, I had a bit of extra time on my hands. So I was also giving myself a challenge. Every day I wanted to write like an atomic essay. Atomic essay is like about 100 words about a country in Africa or about a country that I traveled to. So I did that. So during the pandemic, I wrote about every month, maybe about, 30 or so. Sorry, for 1 month, about 30 essays on Africa, a country in Africa, just little things about the country. And then at the end of that, I put everything together. So my stories and my travels from, way back when, my emails, plus these atomic essays. I put them together in a book. And the stories kind of go through what I've experienced traveling around, living in countries, different countries, as a solo female traveler and traveling in these countries, all the experiences that you've had, the people that you meet, just the thoughts, my thoughts, what happens, and that kind of thing. Yeah, so that's what it is, a combination of my experiences and a few and factual things about the countries that
Okay.
I've gone to. Yeah,
So I'm gonna put you kind of on the spot.
sure.
Hopefully, none of your friends in any of those countries don't see this video and say our
Oh my
country are the best, our country are the best country, whatever. Give me
God.
uh, your five, and,
Mm-hmm.
and I know I picked a large number. Maybe you go to three, but
Okay.
give me your five that you'd say, go visit these five countries, and then I have a
Yes.
follow up right after that.
All right. Let me just tread very carefully here. I'd say the top five. South Africa, for sure. Not in any particular order. South Africa, definitely Vietnam. South Africa, where are we? South Africa, Vietnam, and a bit further afield would be Fiji, France, and I'd say Mexico. Who are my
Okay.
top five? Yeah. Oh
Wow.
my God. Wait. How could I forget this? Senegal. Let me just move something up. I'm giving you six. Senegal. I don't know how I forgot this. I think South Africa's been on my mind recently, but I've given you six, right? So South
Yes.
Africa, Senegal,
Yes.
what's the ones in Africa? Fiji in the Pacific,
And
um,
Vietnam. You said Vietnam and Mexico.
Vietnam, France, exactly, and Mexico. So you've got like all over the world. Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
And do not hold this against her friends from these other countries that she may have
right.
missed.
Yeah.
I asked about, visiting. If it was living, she'd say every country. All right. So so
Yeah.
don't feel away. No,
Mhm.
hearing a little bit about the book, and I love that it's on audio because I'm an audio guy. uh,
Right. Yeah.
but is there a story? You don't
Mhm.
have to give us the best story, but something that is it sounds like there's essays of people,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
experiences you have had.
Yeah.
Is there an experience that you can give us just a little taste of, that stood out? Not your top one, not your number one. Make
Yeah.
people get the book to get the number
Yeah.
one or number two. Give us maybe number three or
Yeah.
number four of the
Okay.
experience.
Right. I would say the one that comes to mind. So I'm not even sure if it's the top one, two, three, or whatever. But the one that comes to mind is my experience in Mali. Well, Mali was one of my top countries to visit. I think I went maybe about two or three times. And again, I think what makes, whenever you go to a country, it's extremely important, especially when you're on your own, to meet people who will give you a authentic experience, will share things with you that you would normally read about or hear about otherwise. So in Mali, I was able to build relationships with people. That's why I went back the second time and the third time. So you meet people, you become friends. You experience a lot of things together, and then you go back and you meet the family, and that kind of thing. I'd say that Mali is the one where I've had a rich experience. I mean, all the experiences are rich, but this one kind of stands out in my mind for a couple of reasons. One is I experienced the real Mali, like what it's like to live and survive in a developing country where you have to be tough, you've got to be resilient, you can't give up, you just have to keep going. And I'm still in contact with the people today, with the friends I met there today. And what is interesting, I mean, when I went, Mali was home to tourism. You could go, you could travel around, it's beautiful, so much to show, so much to see. I went to Timbuktu, I had a fabulous experience there. um, what is interesting, I don't want to say sad, but it is a little bit, yeah, is where Mali is today. They had a coup a couple of years ago, and it's kind of, basket case fallen apart. But however, the people, are still there. I mean, they've had hard times
Mm.
before. They're still going through hard times, but I guess it's a different kind of hard times, right?
Mm.
So the experience for me was, as always, to realize, how fortunate that how fortunate I have been or I am. I mean, yeah, we complain about our lives being hard all the time, but everything is relative. And that kind of hard, I mean, I say this now, I'm not sure I would be able to survive. It
I
would
hear.
take everything I have. But I mean, just to know that there are people who are thriving, who
Right,
just have to be
right.
positive. Whatever happened, whatever life throws at you, you just have to keep going. Yeah, you can sit and you can cry for a little bit. Yeah, mourn and whatever, but you need to get up and keep going because otherwise you won't survive, right?
Yeah.
Um, that's the one that stuck with me. As I said, I'm still in touch, so I know what's happening on the ground.
Right, right. You still have friends and people that you keep in
Yes,
contact
they're
with.
still alive. I mean, honestly,
Right.
that's the only thing I want from them, just to stay alive.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask about customs. No, I'm
Hmm.
gonna switch back to Angola.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
is there a custom that
Hmm.
you've encountered there that you
Hmm.
found, maybe a little different or interesting, um,
Hmm.
that you could share with us?
A custom. I can't. I
And
mean,
it could be, listen, the way
mhm.
someone, the
Yeah.
marriage ceremony may be a little different than what you've seen somewhere else.
Hmm.
It could be the way funerals are carried out. It could be the way when I'm doing an introduction. It could
Hmm.
be,
Yeah.
if it could be the custom of somebody trying to get engaged, or
Hmm.
courting someone, or
Right.
it could be any of those. It could be Sunday
Yes.
Sunday morning. Everyone does this on Sunday morning,
Right.
or
Yeah.
everybody does this on Tuesday. It could be any of those little things that you
Hmm.
notice that is kind of different, or
Yeah.
interesting.
Okay. One thing that comes to mind is when you greet people, and I think it depends on who it is. I want to say I've noticed it more with depending on the social class that you're in. Like if I say good morning to somebody on the road or somebody who is working as a security guard or just a random person on the road, they're not going to say good morning or good afternoon back to me. They say thank you. And I found that a little, I don't know, it struck me. I'm like, I'm still trying to come to grips with it, but I've noticed it. So it's not like, I'd say good morning to you, you'd say good morning, you know, that's it. Nobody's going to ask you. Maybe that, nobody's going to ask you who you are in
Right,
that situation. It's
right.
like good morning, and they'd say thank you, obrigada. So I was always like, why don't you just say good morning back to me? But I think it maybe comes back from I want to say the olden days where somebody is actually grateful that you acknowledge them. Do you know what I mean? You're not
Mm.
passing by. So that struck me. I cannot imagine that in a Jamaican context.
No, no. In the West, in
Yeah.
fact, I've heard
Mhm.
someone say something similar. In fact, my wife said
Mhm.
something similar about when she traveled to. I'm trying to remember if it was Vietnam, or somewhere else, Asian, some other country in Asia or whatever, where the
Mhm.
the greeting, and it's let's call it spade a spade. It was a uh,
Yeah.
social status where the person
Mhm.
was in
Yeah.
your social status is kind of
Yeah.
how you were greeted back,
Mhm.
you know.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, yeah,
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
very,
So
very
that's what.
interesting.
Yeah. That's me. Indeed, it is. Another thing, one more thing, is that again, this probably comes from the whole Latin culture. People start partying, going out late at night. I mean, you cannot go anywhere before 11 o'clock. I mean, I'll be, if you go, you'll be the only one there. And I think that's tough for me because 11, 12 o'clock, I'm shutting down at this stage. So if you want to go out and have a real feel of nightlife in Luanda, you cannot go anywhere before 11 o'clock. 11, 12,
Okay.
that's when saturated with people coming in. 12 o'clock is a good time to start. And I just, even with going out to restaurants, people just do a lot of things a lot later. They start out a lot later.
All
Yeah.
right. So, in terms of advice, you have been to over 70 countries.
Yeah.
What would that one piece of advice you give you give solo, you specifically travel solo to a lot of these places.
Yeah.
What's that
Mhm.
one specific advice you'd give that person that, they're watching this, they're like, I want to travel, but
Yeah.
it's just me, and I'm a little scared or whatever. What's that one piece of advice you'd give that person?
Well, first of all, decide where you want to go. Once you've decided where you want to go, you're going to do some research. You're going to find a hotel that's friendly towards, who that has higher ratings for solo female travelers. You're going to do your research, and you're going to try, and there are ways of, going on Facebook, or trying to make contact with people, before, kind of thing. Even if you don't want to do that, you're going to choose a hotel that's friendly towards, women traveling on their own. You're going to do a research. You're going to research the places that you want to go. You're going to make sure that when you get there, there's somebody to pick up at the airport. When you get to the hotel, there's reliable people, or wherever you're staying, that can give you information and guide you and that kind of thing. And the most important thing is to have an open mind and trust your gut. Have an open mind, and not everybody's out there to do harm. So don't go with the impression, oh my God, they're going to rob me or whatever. Just go with an open mind, because most people, after traveling all around the world, most people are good. Most people have good intentions, right? And you shouldn't get those little stories about those awful things just turn you off. But obviously, you've got to go with your gut, and trust your gut. If you don't feel safe, just do something about it, right? Just go with your gut all the time. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there are some great tips in the book, so folks, be sure to check out Desiree's book on Amazon.
Yes.
Unleashed.
It's
Give me the quote. There it is.
There it
Unleashed.
is.
There it is. Okay, Unleashed. Keep it there. Keep it there, and get
Yeah.
some good tips, because trust me, I love to travel, and
Good.
I'm fortunate. My wife loves to travel also, so we're the like
Good.
minds.
Very
And
good.
but I know people who are reached out to me since I've
Mhm.
started the series. They're like, I want to go,
Yeah.
but I'm going alone, and
Mhm.
they're, but hey, people are doing it. You can do it, and great,
Absolutely.
great
Yeah.
advice. So
Yes.
listen, Desiree, thank you for spending some time with us. I'm winding it down.
All right. Thank you.
So here's a question I have for you. It's a scenario.
Okay.
You land in Jamaica, whichever airport.
Uh-huh.
You land, you get out the airport.
Mm-hmm.
What is that first thing you're yearning to either do or
Uh-huh.
eat or go
Uh-huh.
see?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, the first thing I want to say is definitely going to the beach. I want not, yeah, Fort Clarence, Hellshow, somewhere around there. What's that one beside Fort Clarence? The Chillings, is Chillings or something? Anyway, in that area, and have some fish.
Okay.
Fish at the beach, absolutely. Fish at the beach. I'm telling you. Yeah, African festival at the beach with fried bami. That's the one thing, absolutely, for sure, for sure, for sure.
So, and Port Royal, some people don't wait till they get there. They're stopping right there
I
at
still
Port
forget
Royal
about it.
to get their fish and festival.
Right,
They're like, no, I'm going. I'm not even heading.
right.
I'm leaving
Yeah, yeah.
here.
No,
You
I
know.
can't wait for the next day to get a true beach vibe. I don't want to rush it. I want to
All
make
right.
sure I'm rested and I'm spend the whole morning there. Even go for breakfast. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
So here's how I typically end.
Uh,
Please tell us the informal way that
mm-hmm,
folks in Angola say
mm-hmm.
goodbye. Jamaicans say little more or punish strong, all folks are punish strong, or
Yeah.
later. You know, how
Hmm.
do the folks there in Angola say goodbye? And it could be formal, it could be just a normal way, but maybe there's an informal way they say
Yeah.
goodbye.
You hear what I say. Let me just tell you what more importantly, what I say. I just say ciao.
Okay.
Ciao. Ciao, and that's Italian. I'm not even sure, but people respond to me. I'm sure there's a formal Portuguese way to say it. Ciao, yeah.
Okay.
A proxima to the next time, something like that. Yeah, I'm telling you,
What
my
was that last one? A what?
proxima or
Uh,
something along those lines. That's what
okay.
I say. I don't know what it is, but people
Okay.
just respond better know what I'm saying.
All right. Well,
You know what I'm
Desiree,
Yeah.
thank you again. And
Yeah.
as you say goodbye, ciao.
Ciao. Thanks, Zia. Oh.
Show some love now. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss a video.